Welcome back to the next episode of Life with Jamie and More. And we've got a repeat guest. We've got Douglas here. I'm not going to... Well, I'm not going to mess around with introductions this time because you were just on so recently, Douglas. It was... how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I've been trying to pick up some, I guess, new hobbies and still trying to get the business back up. That's going to be just a super challenge. I don't know how long. Corona has really killed my business, so I'm trying to look at other alternatives. So I have a lot of friends that are in the tech industry. So I've started a course online, learning about front end and back end web development.
Right.
So it's what I'm studying is called full stack. So it's basically the front end and back end. So
that means
hope
nothing to me. I'm really sorry, mate. It's like, yeah, literally over the head, mate.
Like, sound like a professional already.
Yeah, you sound like you definitely know what you're doing. Front end, back end, like stacking. It sounds like doing the dishes or something to me. Like it's like putting the front of the dishwasher, the back of the dishwasher. Actually, speaking of that, I've done that about twice today already. But anyway, yeah.
It's like learning a language. It's very interesting. I've been studying Japanese over these years, and I guess my brain has kind of switched over time from being a science brain to, I guess I'm leaning towards more language brain, I guess.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that it's not going to be too hard to learn. So it's been interesting so far.
That's good. And I think you so this is now almost, you're coming into your second week. I think last week you said you started kind of into a full week of study like last week or something. Was that right?
Yeah, I've done every day since I started on the 17th. So I've studied every day for 2 to 3, 4 hours.
Wow.
I'm doing that every day. I'm trying to do it a little bit just to stay consistent with it.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff, man. That's what, it's always really good to find those things because I think, do you think doing that actually, doing kind of allocating time to do that helps you mentally? Because it's not work. It's something which is at the moment not related to work. It's kind of like an interest in a hobby. Do you think that's kind of mentally helping you?
Yes. For me, if I don't have something to focus on and go towards, like some type of goal, I just kind of break down. So I always have to go towards something. Right now, my business is kind of, we've moved to a new location and we're slowly getting new students, but I feel like the moving to a new location, I've reached that goal. So now I need to build the business back up, but that's going to take time. So I have to find something else to focus on, and this is a good thing for me. So
I can understand that.
Yeah, is always having a new goal of some type is good for me.
Yeah, that sounds good. How about the school holidays? Because obviously Mike has been on holidays, hasn't he? And Joey went back this week. He went back on Thursday, half day. He went back, and then and by all reports, actually, I asked Junko today. I said, like, what? Because they write a little notes about how he was, and I said, like, oh, like what? How was he? And apparently he's been really good. Like, he's been part of the classes, and he has been in and out and things like that. But they're saying that he seems to have kind of grown up and was paying more attention and being more involved and all those. So it was really, like, for the first kind of day and a half back, he's been really good. And like, I don't know, but for me, like, it kind of normal service has resumed in my life, in a way, because of like the kids going back. And what about you? Like, yeah, how about you? How does that impact you? Like with the school holidays, does it throw your life into chaos or?
Well, Micah goes to day service. So I don't know if you've ever used day service over in Osaka.
Yeah,
But
we do. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So while we're working during the day, he's able to go to this service, and they'll take him to the park or do some type of activity. And he'll come back about 5:30, something like that. So that's
Right.
been very helpful.
That's great. Is he with other people, or is it with just like himself and adults, or what's the situation with that?
It's other kids with autism and special needs type
Right.
thing,
Oh,
and
that's
then
cool.
there's
That's cool.
support teachers and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jamie has a he was going to the same thing, a similar thing anyway. He has two different places that he goes to, and they were normally kind of taking him from about 12 o'clock on the during the summer holidays. So my mornings were very different from like when school's normally on, because like you get the kids off to school and then I have about 3 hours or 4 hours to kind of do what I want to do. And I haven't had that. Like for 4 weeks. I haven't had really. There's been little, very small kind of glimpses of it in there, but there's been. It kind of makes it more difficult for me to kind of just be nice to myself and be good to myself. And but it's challenging, and I think it's just trying to always navigate through, and it's just a challenge. But I tackled it differently this year. I kind of in the previous episode I kind of said how I tackled it a bit differently this year, like the holidays. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on to the kids more. Actually, I'm going to focus on to the kids, but also focus on to me not being so hard on myself, to actually sit down and get work done on the desk at my computer, which is what I'm at right now. Because I seem to validate getting work done by sitting at a computer. I don't know, like I do get work done and I feel better by achieving certain things, but I've been busy doing other things, but I've kind of given myself a pass for the past 4 weeks, and I've actually had a really cool summer holiday. I've had a really, really cool. Went like swimming. Oh my god! Like actually, we had to write on on Jamie's little list as to what word sums up his summer holiday, and I said wet. My wife was like, "Yeah, I think that basically sums it up pretty well." Like, we've just tried to go to the pool or go to, the winter. We got to the beach, and it was really cool. It was just really awesome,
How is the heat up there? It's been horrible down here.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. It were. Yeah, I think I've kind of, to be honest, I also generally kind of gets pretty hot through summer, but there were some really stifling days, and you just even just going out for a walk, even at like 10 o'clock at night, it's just like you just can't escape it. It's just like this big blanket, Not that I'm taking Jamie for a walk at 10 o'clock at night, but more for myself. But yeah, it's just so hot, so it's hard to kind of be outside. I don't know. You're a bit more on the countryside, so it's a little bit better down there.
No, this is the first year I've fallen behind on keeping up with the garden and cutting back the mountain and stuff like that. My house is surrounded by high weeds right now because I can't get out there, but maybe a couple hours.
Mm.
And heat was just wearing. I would just wring sweat from my t-shirts after it was so hot.
Yeah.
And the previous years haven't been like that. But I've just been worn out, and my wife caused me too. She's been just worn out this year. It's just horrible.
It's funny. I actually said to Junko the other day, I said, I feel like, because I've been pretty active this summer break, I actually feel that I've become a little bit more, a bit fitter because of the amount of kind of physical stuff that I've done with Jamie and Joshua over the past kind of 4 weeks, really. So I've managed to.
It looks like you dropped some weight.
I don't know. It might be the haircut, actually. It could
Okay.
well be the haircut because, but hey, I'm going to take that. So thanks, mate. I'm going to receive that and I'm going to take it because that's, you're the only one who's actually said anything to me like that. But I don't know. I'm wearing black as well, so that also helps. Hey, makes it. Yeah. So, but I can't kind of coming to the end of the summer holiday. I found myself being like, okay, I'm coming to the end of the road, and I was starting to kind of get like tired. And again, 4 weeks of not really kind of. There were moments of looking after myself, but really not a lot. And so I started to kind of just feel a bit like I was coming to the end of my cup was getting pretty empty, and I wasn't able to kind of replace it with anything. And I still kind of feel a little bit like that at the moment. I still feel a little bit like I'm running on empty. So it's I don't know. Have you ever kind of had that as you come to the end of the holidays, or you don't feel like that way?
No, I mean, Cosme and I kind of we try to help each other kind of balance things. If one is getting pretty worn out, then the other will kind of pick up. Like Cosme's been really tired this past week, so she took off from work. She rested as much as possible. I try to do a little bit more around the house, and then if I'm having the same issues, then she'll try to pick up the slack. So we tend to help each other quite a bit like that. So that works out pretty well.
That's good. I suppose that's kind of it's a little bit different for us, isn't it? We have two kids. So we're trying to. I always feel a bit kind of bad, and I feel like I'm, just lumping Junko if I kind of head out even for like an hour or something like that, and it's during the daytime. I always feel like I should be back home and helping because it's. I always feel like because I think Jamie's now heavier than Junko, and he's taller than Junko. And when he wants to do something, and he's determined, if he's pretty determined to do something, like Junko has to like really, try and use all her weight to try and stop him from doing something.
Yeah.
So I feel that I've got to be there because I'm obviously the stronger one. I'm able to kind of physically the stronger one. I'm able to help and bring things back in line. And we're at the pool the other day, and we were both trying. He wanted to get into the pool and get into the pool. There was some it's like a community pool, and he wanted to get in the pool, but he wasn't allowed there because he had to wait like another 15 minutes before they finished, and he just was determined to get in this bloody pool. And he was just going off, and he was, full 50 kgs of his weight, and head swinging, arms swinging. So, but anyway, like, we made it through in one piece. But yeah, so it's been a the summer holidays been good, but I really want to try, and I need to itch out that time for me, and that's just that is so important. I was thinking that I've been to my cafe.
I've actually had to readjust my schedule. So the stuff that I've been doing with this computer work has been I've been doing it at night. So I've whenever everyone goes to sleep is when I start doing this stuff. So I have nice and quiet, no distractions. So I've had to adjust my schedule so I can do well with it.
Yeah. So you've kind of worked things. You've kind of okay. So you've made it work for yourself, which is good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I've got to do. So yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good, man. So we were actually kind of in contact this morning, weren't we? I was looking actually through I was looking at some photos of Jamie this morning. Honestly, I don't know why, but I was looking at photos of when he was just born, a day like leading up to and the day he was born, and the videos. There were some videos actually there as well. There was a video of me about 4 days before he was born, and I was sitting in the Junko took the video, and there's a video of me sitting there, setting up the rocker. We bought a rocker, and looks like we had just washed all his baby clothes. So when you buy them, you wash them, and then before you put them on the kids, right? Because these days, of course, if adults we just put them straight on, but as a baby, you have to wash them first, right? Step one of being a parent. Anyway, so in the background of this video, there's all these kind of outfits hanging up, and it was really a bit surreal because I thought to myself, I had we just had no idea that in 4 days' time he wasn't going to be 4 or 5 days' time he wasn't going to be coming home, and it was a kind of a snapshot of a moment where I was still kind of on that road of, okay, this is where I'm going to be going, right? This is where my life and what Junko's life and our life as a family will be going. And it's always terrifying anyway, because when you become a dad, it's always terrifying anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I was kind of scrolling through some more photos, and I was like, I wonder when, I started to see photos of Junko going into the hospital, and I forgot that actually Junko's mum was even there. Actually, Junko's mum had come down from Nagano, and I had kind of forgotten that she was there. Anyway, so there's a couple of photos of her there. However, almost like the from the photo stage, almost the moment that Jamie appears on the camera on as the photo's been taken, there's no other photos of the grandma, because the grandma never gets to see him. She never gets to see him. And she I can't even remember how long she stayed down here in Osaka. I honestly can't remember, because I was just obviously in my world of just visiting the hospital every day, and Junko was still there after her C-section. And so I think she ended up not really staying very long, because I think she felt there was she got impacted by the trauma of this. Junko said that when she went home, she remembers like her dad had said at some point after, he had said like she came home and she was like basically didn't want to do anything for like about a week. She was just, so she just, because her mum's pretty active, and she came back and she just was very, quiet and didn't really say anything. And, and I think that she just, didn't know what to do. And so having her, when she stayed here, that was probably stressful for her because it was just me and her in the house, and my Japanese was woeful. And so it's probably more stressful for her. So that's probably also why, going back would have been the way forward. But I feel kind of sorry for her because I think, she was there, but also she just, didn't know. He felt helpless as hell, Did you guys have anyone with you when you?
You mentioned that. I totally forgot also. Cosme's mother, I think, came down with us. So the hospital where Micah was born was about an hour and a half away from her hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I remember correctly. Her mother came down with us, but I think it took a while for Cosme to actually go into labor. And then she had major problems. She started bleeding, and I think the water broke, and the umbilical cord had wrapped around Micah's neck. And then they realized they had to get her into surgery for the C-section.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was there by myself whenever Micah was born. I think her mom had already gone home. Yeah,
okay.
I think because
right.
She was having her contractions all throughout the night. Mike was born in the morning, and her mother had gone home already, I think.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Was
So
that? Do you know why that was? Do you know why she had gone home? Or was it just from like she had things going on? I guess
everything looked normal up until that point. So she just thought, okay, I guess I've done my part, and she would just come back, the next day.
Oh,
So
I see. Okay.
Her mother
Right.
drove back to her house. Everything looked normal, and then it wasn't until after Micah was born, I think she came back, if I remember correctly. So
Gotcha. I see.
yeah.
Okay, so she came back, and so she was around, like after Micah was born, she was kind of hanging around, and like, how, do you think there was obviously lots going on as well, like he was essentially straight in
by that time he was in ICU, and really none of us could see him at that point. So he was pretty bad off, and so really none of us could really see him at that time.
No.
So he wasn't stable enough. Yeah.
How many days was it before how long was it before you could actually go and see him in ICU or in ICU? NICU, as they say. Like,
I don't recall. Yeah, it might have been a few days before he was.
Wow.
I think that's correct. I think it was a few days before he was stable enough where we could actually go in there. And by that time he was just wires everywhere, and we were just very surprised at how many fluids and drugs were going into him, and very shocking at the time.
Yeah. And there's always I can never forget all those beeps going on in those places. That's just like continuous beeps, and then man, and always looking at the oxygen monitor I was always like, that was the only thing I could fucking understand, right? Because it was like, okay, they said, okay, if it drops below like, I remember like if it got to like 94, 95, like I'd be like, oh, this is not good, like, and then sometimes it would kind of dip down to like 89 or something, and then kind of like go back up again, and it was like when we would first go in there, like it was like the first thing I'd almost like be like, how's this oxygen going? Because
Same
I
thing.
have asthma. I have the same thing,
Yeah.
Because I have asthma, so I was like, we would always just bang on to the doctor saying like, now I have asthma, my parents have asthma, it's in my family, like, this, just so you know, like, I think we must have been like broken records, trying to just make sure that, they understood that, his breathing, could, I don't know whether asthma was, there or not, whatever. Like, that was the only thing I knew. That was basically the only thing I knew about was asthma. Everything else that was going on, no idea, nothing at all, right? It's just like, ask my question, yeah, maybe you can ask me that one, but like, I'm out with everything else. I don't know.
I think they had sedated Micah. He was in an incubator, and sedated him. He was sedated for quite a while, and he was in the same position on his back. So he has I think I talked about this before. He has a couple pressure sores. One's in the back of his head. He got one in his neck and his lower back, and he also ended up getting sepsis. He turned bright red. His body swelled up. It just we just feared the worst for him. Watching him go through all that.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about seeing these old photos, and it just kind of brought back all of these memories. It was the same thing for me. I have trouble looking at those old photos. As much as I want to see Micah when he was younger, when I see those old photos, it just brings back all of these very bad memories. And it's been a few years since I've seen those photos, but the last time I looked at him, I started crying. I have a picture up here on this cabinet when Micah had woken up. So he's he's in the hospital, and my hand is across his face, kind of caressing him, and he's just looking directly into the camera. So that was after he woke up, cool. And he was going to be okay.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, actually, when was the first time you got to hold him?
First time I got to hold him, it was probably a month and a half to 2 months later.
Wow.
Yeah, it had been many weeks before we got to hold him.
How did you feel when you got to hold him? Like, I'll talk about my experience after yours, because how did you like can you think back to like how you felt and what was going through your head when the first time they kind of handed him over to you to kind of hold?
It was almost like being whenever Micah was first born, he rolled out in front of me, and I had this, I'm a father, but then they wheeled him away, and it just kind of took that away from me. So it was like, here's your son, and then we're taking him to ICU, and not knowing what was going on, and then there was a month, almost 2 months of going to see him in the ICU, and he's sedated, and the ups and downs with whether he was going to make it or not. But when it was finally handed to us, I think same thing for Cosme. It was like we finally felt like we were parents. Here he is, the reality just became, I guess, complete.
Yeah.
So he was handed to us, and we were actually to sit there to hold him and look into his eyes, and So it just kind of completed everything for us, I think.
Did he have when you that time, was he still had a lot of things on him, like, IVs and things like that, or was he had very few on them at that point?
No. So by this time they had completed his therapy. All the drugs that he was on, he was taken off. All the IVs were taken out. He was removed from the incubator, and he was in his own little room, basically. So They went from ICU to a secondary room, where they didn't have to continuously watch him,
So he was on his own, in a way, or
no,
kind of
I shouldn't say on his own. There were nurses in the room. There were other babies that were in the room.
I think,
but it wasn't as the doctor didn't have to be there. Is now up to the nurses as the main support, I guess.
Yeah, I understand. I think I understand what you mean. Yeah, I kind of forget that. It's funny, isn't it? Because it's a long time ago. You kind of sometimes forget these little transitions home. Because I remember just him being in the ICU there, and the something actually that was really just so crazy, and like not a lot of people kind of actually know this, is that so he was born, he came, like, Junko was in the I think she was in, wasn't the operating, she came out of the having a C-section, and she was in this other kind of room, and I could go in, and she was lying down, and then they brought him in, and then they put him onto her chest, and so she was kind of lying there, and she kind of had him kind of on in front of her. Right there, I've got photos of those, and Junko's got tears in her eyes, and then it was just this kind of weird moment, because everyone kind of left. Everyone just, it was just us. It felt like we were the only people in the hospital. And it was probably about maybe 5:30, 6 in the evening. And then they kind of just came back, and they said, "Oh, we're going to take him away now." We knew nothing at this point. This is literally, we don't know anything. So then he goes away, and one of the doctors said, "Oh, can I the doctor who I think he did the I don't know if he actually did the cesarean anyway. He was a pediatric doctor, and he kind of pulled me aside, and he put me into a room, and he said, in English, he's talking to me in English. He actually spoke a bit of English, so this was actually good. But he said, "I just want to tell you, because we don't," he said, I'll tell you because we don't want to tell the mother this yet, because it can worry the mother, is that we think that your son may have Down syndrome." And I kind of remember thinking, I was like, okay. Because again, I just didn't really know. That was just the biggest shock in the fucking world, right? I just was like, I don't know what that is. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. And he said, and I think, I don't know whether he told me at that point, but he said also he's going to need to have an operation. At some point, we were informed that he needed to have an operation, because he had no anus. And that had to happen really fast. That had to happen straight away. I don't know if he told me that there, or it was told to both me and Junko. Anyway, he said, "So please don't tell your wife." I'm pretty sure he said to me, "Please don't tell your wife about the Down syndrome." So what did I do? I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to keep that secret?
I mean, that's just odd for a doctor to say that. Don't tell your wife this. Is that Is that Japanese?
I don't know if there's protocol or not, but if it is, that's the most bullshit protocol I've ever heard in my life. Because, like, here's the mother. She's just had her first baby ever by C-section, and not to kind of I can understand why they do this. They don't want the mother to be like freaking out. Well, hello, what about fucking me? Like, I'm not freaking out at that point, but like, I'm just like, what, like this, what is Down syndrome? I don't know what this is at all. So I'm just like, well, I'm just going to go tell my wife this, like, because I'm going to tell her something. I can't keep that inside of me. So I just went straight. I said,
I mean, how would she look at you if you didn't tell her that? I mean,
well, that's the thing. Like,
for you,
she'd be like, well, when did you know? Oh, I knew like a week ago or something. It's like,
yeah,
like, I mean,
that's just.
So I was like, I went back and I saw her and I said, just spoke to the doctor and I told her, and I said, and he said not to tell you, but I'm telling you. She was just speechless, and I honestly, I think she was just crying anyway. I think it just tears on top of tears. But it was, and it was at that point I think things just started to kind of sink in. I think it was like there was like, okay, so we're entering into something that's just even more unknown than what we expected 2 hours ago. We don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't have an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. Like, smartphones weren't even around. So, to try and, jump on the internet to find out what Down syndrome is, like, that just wasn't going to even happen. So, and I think actually Junko said, don't tell. She said, maybe, I don't know, she might kill me for this, but I think she said, don't tell my mother. I'm not sure about that, actually. I vaguely remember her saying, don't tell mum yet, or she'll worry, or something like that. Anyway, it might just be me imagining it. But anyway, so basically he was like, I'm kind of jumping around a bit here, but I want to go back to actually when we talked about kind of the first time you held Micah, and when I first held, like, because Junko got Joshua Jamie on her tummy. That was the first one. I never got it. I don't remember holding him. And I just remember like when we first got to hold him, and I think it was maybe a couple of, like, a week or two in, maybe we were, and I just remember thinking, like, I feel like I'm going to break him. I feel like I'm going to just, like, he just, so the muscle tone is just so low, and it's just floppy as all hell. And that was what's one of the telltale signs of, like, of a Down syndrome children, is the muscle tone is just really low. So they can, and I just remember, like, just like getting him and just thinking, shit, like, like, I was holding like a crystal vase, and I just didn't want to move. I was like, oh my God, like, I honestly, I don't even think I saw him as a human, because it was just, I was just terrified of just, hurting him. Right. Ironically, now he's like 50 kgs, and when he's a raging bull, he could probably, knock my ribs out, I swear. Like, so he's gone from being this, crystal vase to a raging bull. So, but yeah, it was, the kind of ICU, was just such a, I've got so many memories, but they're all over the place. When he was first in there, and He was obviously, well, not obviously, but he had the yellow. What's the yellow when they have to put him under the lighting to
Jaundice.
Jaundice, that's the one. So he had a little bit of that at the beginning, right at the beginning, of course.
Micah too. I think he was jaundice for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's just really shit for anyone. Like, and so he's in this kind of cube and this little kind of container, and I got photos of him. He's got patches on his eyes and all this. And actually, one thing I was looking at those photos today, and Junko said something really interesting. She said, this is probably one of the few photos that he has that he doesn't have any scars. I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right, because he had heart operations, so he's got like a scar down here. He had obviously they created his anus, and then he had an intestine operation, and between all that kind of as well. And he just, because they had to just drain after these operations, especially like his intestine and heart, as they had to just keep draining the fluid out of his his lungs and things like this. So he had all these kind of drains coming out down kind of in this lower part of his chest, and he's still got these kind of quite prominent scars down here as well, and a scar up here as well with the heart operation. And I kind of because I see them all the time, like when he's in the shower and stuff. I see him all the time, and it's just become it's so normal now, right? But he's always, and there's just so much kind of history there, and so much.
Whenever we take Micah to get a haircut, so Micah it's a scar. I'd say it's about 2 inches.
Wow. Okay.
It's shaped like it looks like the island of Shikoku. It's just
okay.
Yeah, I mean, so so this is directly on the where the neck joins the head.
Right.
He's got this big scar, and hair doesn't grow on that scar. So every time we take him to the barber, we tell the barber, don't worry about the scar. We live in a small area, and the kids know he has it. Don't worry about, just please cut his hair short, and don't worry if you can see it. But every single time the barber almost in a way scolds us, like we're bad parents for showing this scar, and and they always tell us, other kids are gonna tease him if they can see his scar, and we're like, it's none of your damn business, about that. We're asking to please cut his hair. We're not asking you for your damn opinion about this.
Exactly. So, jeez, man, that's just crazy, isn't it? Like, to feel that, just to feel that actually that he's, almost telling you off. It's like, seriously, dude, like, come on, like, do you want me to like show you and, really, spell it all out to you? Like, it's just like, some people just don't have that ability, do they? And again, because I guess you're going back to the same place. Is that right? Again and again.
Well, we've jumped around to a few different barbers.
Right. Yeah, right.
I don't understand barbers in this country. It's like, I don't know if you've had the same issues or not, but if you tell a barber in this country, could you go a little bit shorter, they get angry.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I've only had one barber in this country for the whole time I've been here. I've gone to one barber, and it's like, I'm just like, he's actually all right. And I don't have to. He does the same style now. He just is like, nice and short. And like, yep, good. There it is. Like, So I actually haven't had that, but I will tell you one thing, Jamie. Taking Jamie to hairdresser, taking actually any of our kids to the hairdresser is man, like it just doesn't happen. Junko has turned into the hairdresser, basically. Junko has turned into the the woman who does everything again. So she cuts the hair for the boys. And Jamie's actually had like well, this will another episode we'll talk about this, but Jamie's actually had alopecia, which means that his hair is fallen out. And we've had a kind of a battle with kind of trying to find ways of getting it growing back. And anyway, there's some crazy photos of him. His front of his hair was almost like I don't know how to describe it. It was almost like something like a Halloween, his hairdo, because it was like he had hair along the sides, but it was like wasn't growing along like down the middle. So his head looks like hair on the side, and just it was horrible. We went to Disneyland like this. I can't believe we actually went to Disneyland like this. My sister actually from Australia was over, so we went to Disneyland. Anyway, like moving right on. But barbers, we have a home gig going on, and even Junko does mine. Through COVID, she was doing mine. Jamie allows me to get the clippers and actually go all over, which is so easy. That like he wriggles around, and sometimes he'll be like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, and I have to bribe him. I'm like, do you want ice cream? And he's like, I'm like, okay, right. Well, then just sit still, because if you do this, you're going to get ice cream at the end of it. And so he'll sit there, but I have to be fast. I've got to be fast, and I do I think it's like a number 3 or something. And so I did it. I was the last one to cut his hair. I think I just did it all over. Junko does the trimming, but I actually wanted to just whip it all off. Anyway, like he went back to school, like the next day, and like, well, I did it on the Saturday, and he went to school on the Monday, and the teachers, everyone's like, has Jamie been a bad boy? They were like Junko said they were asking whether he had done something wrong, because essentially, if you shave a kid's head, like it's because he's done something wrong. It's a punishment. And I was like, wow, I never know that. I thought like, because it's all the baseball guys do their like just do it, right? Yeah. So I was like they were like worried that Jamie had done something bad, and I had just gone to him with this electric shaver to take it off. And it wasn't even it was like a number 3 or something, or number all over. That's my kind of contribution towards cutting his hair and keeping it in keeping it from just turning into a total afro, because his hair actually now does grow. Ironically, something so weird about this, and I don't know if it's related or not, but his cousins in Nagano, both of them, both cousins, boy and girl, they have both lost their hair, all their hair, and even their eyebrows, basically. It's just, and so they look like, I'm sorry to say, but they look like they are kind of almost essentially like receiving chemotherapy, because it's just literally like not a speck of hair anywhere on their head. And the girl, she wears it.
Sometimes I don't know their age, but I've heard there's a kind of a nervous tick of sorts, I guess, where people will stroke their own hair, and their hair could come out in that way, or they'll kind of pull on their eyebrows like this, and the hair will come out in that way. Is there some type of...
That's what I do when I'm stressed, mate. I pull my hair out. I'll tell you that right now. Junker's always telling me, stop pulling your hair out. Like, stop it. I'm like, that's why I have to get a haircut, because I can't do it when it's like this. No, this is something else, because it's full on, and she's taken him to Tokyo. She has this doctor in Tokyo, this guy who sees them and tries to, it's been going on for now probably 4 years now. I think it started actually longer than that, but anyway. But it's actually it's weird that both families Jamie had it, and he gets it, but we deal with it with essential oils. Actually, we found that essential oils were more effective, and actually, we saw signs of hair regrowth when we used essential oils, specific ones, rather than medication. Medication wasn't doing anything. And her sister, she's sticking with medication, and that's obviously her choice. But anyway, man, we're just way off topic there. Okay. Goodness me. Okay, we're 50 minutes in here. I tell you what. What is something that's made you smile this kind of last week or couple of weeks? Something that's made you laugh, smile.
Usually I really made an effort this year to Micah loves to go to the river. And usually the river here, I don't know how it is in Osaka, but over here it is freezing. It's just it's super good.
I can imagine. Straight from down the mountains. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's cold. So I'll usually go up to my knees and just kind of stand there. But he's always like, come on, swim, and I hate being cold. But this year I was like, okay, this year I really need to make more of an effort to. It's not about me, it's about him. I need to forget about my being uncomfortable. I just it's stupid. I need to just forget that and really focus on his joy. So this year we had gone to a place called Yashi Park, and he had this yachting experience, and there was also sea kayaking, and it was supposed to be an all-day thing, but he seemed to be getting a little bit bored. So we decided to come back towards our house and go swimming in the river. And there's actually one section that I like. It's kind of this pool. It's the river's running through, and then there's this nice little pool. And so I asked Cosme if we could go to that spot. And I finally went in there and went swimming. And I was having fun, Cosme was having fun, and Micah was having a ball, and it was, brought a smile to my face and overcame my being uncomfortable. So
can I ask you a question about that? Actually, I'm going to just sidetrack onto that about feeling uncomfortable. And you've heard me talk about like kind of redefining my last episode, which was about redefining my kind of understanding, redefining masculinity, right? And for me, I felt that like it's a huge part of how I react to stuff is actually about about what I feel is what I thought is to be how a man should react, basically. And how my nerves and my nerves and kind of feelings about, that's maybe I shouldn't do that, or that's not going to it's going to make me look silly or ridiculous, or is kind of linked to, I feel it's linked to that kind of toxic masculinity that we just don't have. And I wonder whether have you entertained that idea, or what do you think it is?
When I first came to Japan, I was an ALT, and I was in a very small town, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, and everybody was watching me. So you
felt everyone was watching you?
Everybody, I know everyone was watching.
Okay.
So I couldn't do anything. I felt like I went from being this really overly confident guy You know, back home I was doing martial arts, and I went from being this shy guy to this overconfident guy over the years. And then I came to Japan with this just full confidence, you know. And then I over the years of just, I felt people were just constantly watching, and I just started feeling more and more uncomfortable. Going to Undokai's, sports festivals, and all the parents watching me, and you know, they do that taiso, that stretching it to the music, and so I was doing that, and people
good
were
on you.
laughing.
I never do it, man. I never do it. Good on you.
I went out there at first because I was just shoved out there, but and then having all the parents sit there and laugh, and anytime I was running around the place and people pointing and laughing, and it just over the years it just kind of broke me down to now I don't really want to, if I'm out swimming, or I feel like people are still kind of, you know, watching me, and I just feel uncomfortable. Is part of it. That's part of over the years it just kind of broke me down a little bit. So just being very uncomfortable with that. I know I've gained weight, and even caused me this past few times out swimming, she's covering up my belly. So, you know, I just I don't want to embarrass her, and I also, you know, I don't want to embarrass myself. So I don't know. I just, part of us being uncomfortable with you know, being slightly overweight and stuff like that. So getting out there and swimming in front of folks, you know, I don't enjoy it anymore. And this year I just made more of an effort to just get over that and just get out there.
Good on you, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome because it's you've kind of it really, it's awesome. I feel like you've kind of shedded. I'm going to label it as you've shedded kind of a bit of kind of masculinity, because it comes out to we as men are kind of we get a bit kind of conscious. I know everyone talks about women, how they're worried about what they look like, but ironically, we have that as well. Hello, and but it's really different, and we tend to kind of process it in a different way and act on it in a different way as well. And I think it's great. Like I hope you move forward with that, man, and just, you know, let it all hang out.
But it's interesting in Japan. In America, it's people don't really. I mean, it's rude to point out that you're overweight, or, you know, you just don't. You don't do that. But in Japan, very, very common. No one's shy about telling you how fat you are.
That's right. They will be like, "Hey, you put on some weight or something." It's like, where is that coming from? Like, because the image is, it's so not a Japanese thing, right? But actually, no, it's actually. I've been told multiple times why they do this, and I honestly, for the life of me, I can't remember why it is that they do this. But yeah, they actually are very honest about it, and they're like, "Oh, like, you put some weight on." Like, "Oh, okay, cheers for that." But they will also tell you if you've actually lost it as well. So
that's true.
You know, anyway, wow, we're way off track again. I'm trying to. I'm actually. Well, I know I sent you a great question there about what made you laugh or smile, and I was sitting there myself thinking, shit. Now I've got to think of something. And I think it's because I focus onto sometimes the negative side more than the positive side. You know, there are some funny moments. There are some really funny moments, and I'm gonna. I'm gonna. It's something that made me laugh, made Junko laugh. It was a couple of weeks ago, actually. It wasn't super recent. And Junko said to me, like in the morning, I woke up in the morning. She goes, "Oh, they said that Jamie came back with your underwear." I was like, "What?" Like, this is from his like after school care, right? So he's on school holidays, but and she said, yeah, they said he came back, he turned up with your underwear. I was like, naturally I'm thinking as in my underwear. I said, Junko, like, because they made all notes in the book, and so she dived into his bag and she pulled out this t-shirt, and I was like, oh, it's not. It's like, it was like an underwear t-shirt, like, because Japanese people call it, different things sometimes. Anyway, so what it actually was is he hadn't actually taken my underwear, which probably will happen at some point or another, as he gets bigger. But anyway, yeah, she pulled out this white t-shirt that he had taken. It's like kind of wearing like maybe in autumn or in winter, as it kind of gets a little bit cooler. I have a little bit of an undershirt going on, but we were like absolutely perplexed as to how it even got into his bag. We were like, how the hell did they get in there? Because it's been shoved in my drawer like since for the last 9 months or something like that. Like, it's been shoved. I haven't worn it for ages. So he managed to dig it out and put it into his bag and take it to his thing. So we had a bit of a giggle about that, because it was just the fact that she had said, "Oh, he's taken your underwear." I was like, "What the hell?" And there was actually one more. There was one more that kind of just made us a little bit laugh, but different though. We were going swimming. We were. It's just, yeah. We went swimming. This is like this week, actually, early this week. Yeah, on a Wednesday. It was the last day of their summer holidays, and we wanted to go swimming on their last day before they go back to school, and so we're trying to look for his swing togs, like his swimming trunks, what do you want to call them. And Junko was like, "Oh, well, they were on the sofa last night. Like, the babysitter was there." And she said, "Yeah, it was with the other stuff on the sofa." I was like, "Well, he's not on the sofa here." I said, because I remember throwing them into the drawer. And she said, no, I got them out and I put them on the sofa. I was like, okay. So we're looking all around the house for these swimming trunks, trying to find them. And so we messaged the babysitter, "Hey, his swimming trunks were on the sofa last night. Any idea where they are?" She's like, "No, it might be between all the papers." I was like, "I don't know what papers she's talking about." Papers on the sofa. I was like, "There's not really, his swimming trunks aren't that small and aren't that thin." So, anyway. So we were like, okay, well, he's going to have to wear Junko's ones. So often in the past, like, he's worn Junko's, like kind of like a that sounds actually really ridiculous, but she has like the kind of the trunks, you know so anyway, so we get those, we got them in the bag, we head to the front door, and our front door at the moment is chaos. It's like it's almost like burglar prevention at our front door. Because if someone tried to enter, they just like just like fall over all the shit at the front door. But anyway, there's a trolley, and then on the other side of the trolley there was a green big bag, and I kind of walked to the front, literally like right leaning against the door, and I bent down. I was like, "What the hell's that on top of the bag?" And it was his swimming trunks right there, like at the front of the door, because he was so keen to go to the swimming, because we had told him like 2 days prior that we were going swimming. And so he like, when he had seen them last night, he knew that he was going the next day. So he took him down to the front door, and he'd like putting his swimming trunks right at the front door. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to forget these. So we're like, hey, great, we got them. Anyway, so then we get to the pool, and we're walking over to the pool, and Junko's like, "Oh, he's got a hole in them." She's like, "Look, there's a hole. He's got like a hole. It's like the hole, the kind of the tear which was there before is now actually become a bit of a hole." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, it's exactly what we need, right? Anyway, luckily it actually wasn't too bad, and he had his it's got a swimming. What do you call it? What's the swimming top it's just it's a shirt, it's a swimming vest, swimming top, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what they call it. Anyway, it's actually mine. He actually wears mine. He's this big now, so he wears mine, and it comes down and it covers actually his ass. So it comes down and kind of so it actually works out really well. So it kind of covered a little bit of the rip in very unusual place. So I gotta laugh about these things. We actually need to get him some new ones before he actually goes back to school for swimming. Well, he's gone back to school, but his swimming class, that might freak out the teachers a little bit too much if he puts those on and be like, Jamie couldn't do swimming today due to the rip in his backside. So we better sort that out nice and quick.
We've been surprised at how much this summer Micah has been eating like crazy.
Oh, wow.
We're just, before he used to just kind of nibble on his food. If we we give him, he would eat it, but recently he's just been wolfing down the food. Tonight he had a big, same size as mine, like a big bowl of spaghetti and salad. He's just wolfing it down, and he's also taller than Cosme now. So he's just growing. So,
wow, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Man, he's
kind of watching him eat.
Is he a fast eater?
No, usually we're waiting on him. We're just like, please hurry up. He's kind of slowly eating his food, but when it's something he really likes, he'll just sit there and just wolf it down. And like tonight was like that. He just shoved it down his throat.
Fantastic. Him and Jamie would get on fine then. Like Jamie would just like inhale almost anything. Like he'll spaghetti, noodles, ramen. Actually not ramen. Yeah, ramen, soba, spaghetti is his favorite. He would literally inhale this, and I think he will inhale cake. Chocolate cake is his. That is like just his. Oof, man, that thing won't last very long. We actually went to the dentist. We had a little dentist trip the other day, and after each dentist trip, I bribe him again to behave himself, and I say, we'll go get cake, and I have to say it in front of the dentist as well. Like if he starts playing, like, don't worry, we'll go get cake, okay? Like, I'm hoping that the dentist doesn't understand exactly what I'm saying.
Does he do well at the dentist?
So what was that?
Does he do pretty well at the dentist?
He did actually pretty well this time, actually. Yeah, he had a new dentist because he has the same dentist, and this is a new dentist for him. He had the same dentist for ages, and probably about maybe 5 or 6 years or even longer, and then his dentist changed to a woman, and then for about a year or two, and then it just changed now to a guy, and it actually went pretty well. So far from perfect, but certainly was good. But after that, we got the cake and we sat down, and it's just literally like a vacuum cleaner. It's just like me and my wife, me and Joe just sitting there going, "Yep, there goes the 200 yen cake in about 20 seconds, and it's just gone." It's just like, so it's chocolate cake is where it's at with him, and spaghetti. Those are the two things he loves, and he just eats. Yeah, he eats rice. Oh my God. We should just do an episode on food, mate. We'll just do an episode talking about food. and actually that'd be good because you're a chef, man. You're a cook, so you can tell us, give us some good tips. The recipe of the day or something. Anyway, my God, we're an hour and 10. We should wrap this up, and it's been good. I've really enjoyed this. We've had a great laugh. I've had a really good laugh, and it's what I needed. Actually, it's what I needed was to have a laugh and shoot the shit. I don't know. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's always good to talk with you. So I haven't thought about, when Micah was born, and I've kind of blocked that off. And uh, a lot of the bad times, I try not to think about it. And, I think it's good to sometimes look at that and reflect on it, and you can compare that time to how well he's come along over the years. He went from being on death's door to doing every day. He's doing better and better. So I think it's good. Maybe I shouldn't just block out all the bad stuff, but reflect back on it and really see how well he's coming along. Of course, he has a long ways to go, but I think it's good to reflect on those things also.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, it's good to kind of do it in an environment where you can, I this morning I was looking at it, and I actually felt sad, but I actually didn't feel. The thing is, what was unusual is I didn't feel sad for him. I actually felt sad for myself, because I remember it was that day that things changed for me. Things really changed, and I was like, that's when I, really went in a direction, and I never realized how much trauma and shit was going on inside. I never had that friends network. We never had family here. Like, it was, my family they were back in Australia and New Zealand, and they probably felt as helpless as anything. They couldn't do anything. And I just remember, just doing it all, just being, just trying to get through the days, and then I would just throw myself into work and just try and build up the school. That's what I did for many, many years, I just felt very, like, I just felt very sad and for myself, because I, like, as it was just a really tough, time. I didn't realize how tough it was. I just didn't realize how tough it was, and how much I was struggling, trying to, and so I just was, looking like I had my shit together on the outside, but inside I was probably just making it through the day, and being some kind of operational body, and just trying my best, just trying to do what I could do without, without no one to kind of relate to.
We actually we had beat everything. We once Micah left the hospital, we thought we beat everything, and we had just a great future to look forward to. We were told by the doctor he would probably be a little bit behind, but like, okay, so he's gonna be a little behind, but he just survived, death's door. So it wasn't until we got it into the end of preschool that it just started this new. We thought everything was fine, and then then here's the real path that we're going to be on. It's from the end of preschool. So then we realized that he has autism, and it's going to be a struggle for us, and we're going to be battling the educational program. And so we went from this horrible time at the hospital to feeling relief, and then kind of just being parents and trying to enjoy raising Micah, and then the reality, what our future is really going to be. So we had this little gap in between.
So,
now it's
that's actually So there's this kind of gap in the middle where you were like, okay, this is cool. this is
We
good.
thought everything was fine. Yeah.
You thought it was fine, right? And then,
Right.
so you kind of had this kind of double, in a way, you had like a double, you know, double trauma
Yeah.
because you've got the trauma from him being in hospital and dealing with all those medical problems there, and then you got out and you're like, whew, all right, but you still probably got that kind of trauma going on from there that you didn't really know, well, maybe not sure that you had or whatever. And then you got this, and then it's like, okay, well, actually, he's got autism and this and this and this, whatever. And so you're like, oh shit, okay. So it's like a double. I kind of, maybe it's a kind of double whammy.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what are you going to do for Jamie for high school? Is he going to be able to
That's
go
a good
to
question.
a regular high school? Or so we have no idea what. In Japan, you're only what's required is through junior high school, and then if you want to go to any high school, you have to take a test and to enter the high school. But Micah's education is basically elementary school, so for him to test to go to high school is impossible. So we want him to go to a regular high school and have the same opportunities as other kids, but we don't think we're going to be able to do that. So I was curious, are things different up in Osaka? Are you going to be able to?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think I'm gonna. It's a pretty big question to answer, and we're kind of 1 hour and 15 minutes into it now. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to talk about it next week because he just went and visited the first high school, and I will be able to kind of give you a bit more information about how that was able to happen, and how you can find out kind of tools to try and make it happen, because I absolutely understand the system. So there are ways around it, absolutely.
Good.
So
that's something I need to find out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, mate. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. And so it's been good, man. Good chatting to you. It's a Sunday night here. And it's actually nice and cool, isn't it? It's all cool outside tonight. First time in maybe, I don't know, 4 months, 2 or 3 months. It actually feels like summer is maybe on the way out.
Yeah. So needs to hurry up.
All right, man.
All right.
So we're gonna. All right, you too. Take care. Enjoy yourself, man. And hopefully, keep on doing your study, and keep going with that, man. It sounds great. Sounds really good. All right.
All right.
Cool as, man. All right. I'm gonna stop this recording here.